Why is it that some people can push their limits again and again, while others get stuck at the very first hurdle? What's that unseen force that keeps their fire alive, even when everything seems like a big challenge? In this video, you'll discover what motivation really is. Not just the surface stuff like walls full of quotes, but that deep inner system that truly drives successful people. If you feel like you sometimes lose your steam, or you just want to understand better what keeps you going after a goal, then this video is for you. New studies in psychology show us that being successful isn't just about talent or luck, but it's also about a complex system inside us that helps decide who reaches their goals and who might fall behind. The science of motivation shows that really successful people are driven by three main things from the inside. Being able to choose for yourself, getting really good at something, and having a clear purpose. This discovery totally changed what we used to think. Before, we thought that outside rewards like money or getting praise were the main things that motivated people. New studies show that what really keeps you going for a long time is something called inner motivation. And this happens when we do something just because we enjoy it and it makes us feel good inside. People who do well can find this inner push even when things get really tough, and that's what helps them stick to their goals for a long, long time. Now, motivation from the outside, like getting prizes, can work for a bit, but it often makes that inner drive weaker. Smart folks call this the over-justification effect. Things that motivate you from the outside, like getting money, people saying good things about you, or being seen as important, can make you get used to them and start expecting them all the time. So if those things disappear, you might not do as well anymore. But that inner motivation, it stays with you even if you don't get any rewards right away, because you care about the experience itself, the chance to learn something new, or just being able to show who you are. When you do things because of that inner motivation, you can keep it up for a much longer time, and it often helps you be more creative and really stick with what you're doing. This is really, really important when things around you are changing fast and are full of challenges, because you can't always count on getting rewards or praise from others all the time. To understand motivation better, it's good to learn about something called self-determination theory. This idea says we get really motivated when three basic needs we all have are being met. These are competence, connection, and autonomy. When we feel like we can handle challenges, and we're growing, learning, and moving forward, our feeling of competence or being good at things gets stronger. Connection is about that deep need we all have to feel like we belong. It's about feeling important to others, and knowing we can count on them too. Feeling part of a group like this gives us inner strength when times are tough, and autonomy is about making our own choices and feeling like we're in charge of our own lives. Not just doing what others expect, but following what we truly believe is right. Successful people know that if these three areas are working well for them, then motivation isn't just a quick flash. It becomes a lasting power that comes from inside, a power that keeps them moving forward no matter what. A lot of times, feeling motivated depends on what we think about our own hard work and what will happen because of it. There's this idea called expectancy theory, and it says three things decide how much we want to go after a goal. First, you have to believe that putting in effort and hard work will actually get you somewhere. If you don't believe that, you probably won't even really try. The second thing is believing that if we do a good job, people will notice, and it will actually lead to something good for us, something we can see. And the third thing is how much that reward or goal actually matters to. If it doesn't mean anything special to us, then we won't feel that push from inside to go for it. People who are successful don't just know about these things happening inside them. They actually work on making these feelings stronger. They pick goals that really mean something to them, they believe they can actually do it, and they know the steps to take to get there. When all these things line up, that's what helps them push through hard times, even when other folks might want to quit. One of the biggest things that keeps us going is believing we can do things, handle tough stuff, and move ahead. This deep down feeling isn't just being sure of yourself, it's really believing you can do well in a certain spot. That's called self-efficacy. The stronger this feeling is, the braver we are about taking chances. We work harder for what we want, and messing up doesn't scare us as much. This self-efficacy thing gets its power from a few places, like when we've done well before, when we see other people do well, and when people around us cheer us on. And also from how we deal with worries or when we're not sure about things inside. People who do well really work on building up this belief inside. They celebrate the small wins, and they learn from what others have been through. And they hang out in places where people help them out. They know that believing in themselves is the first step to making any big change happen. A lot of folks don't get where they want to be. And it's not because they don't have goals or aren't talented. It's because that little voice inside their head, their inner critic, brings them down. People who do well don't just think happy thoughts. They also learn how to change the way they talk to themselves on purpose. Keeping yourself motivated often comes down to how kind and supportive you can be to yourself, especially when you mess up. Successful people don't see their abilities as something that's set in stone. It's actually the opposite. They believe that talent is just a starting point, and it's growth that really matters. This growth mindset means that every skill, all your knowledge and what you achieve can get better, with hard work, smart practice, good plans, and by learning from other people. People who think this way aren't afraid of making mistakes because they know that every time they fail, it's a chance to learn something new. They don't ask, "Why isn't this working?" Instead, they ask, "How can I do better next time?" It's super powerful when you don't see a situation as final, but instead think, "I'm just not there." This way of thinking can free you up and give you the courage to keep on going. When you think this way, you'll not only feel more motivated, but you'll also improve a lot faster. That's because you're focused on making progress, not on being perfect. The secret to long-term success isn't mostly about talent, but how much someone can stick with their goals. Again and again, even when they get tired, when they face challenges, or when they don't see results right away. This inner strength comes from a mix of passion and perseverance. When we say passion here, we don't mean just a quick burst of excitement, but a deep, long-lasting commitment to a goal or calling that lasts for years. And perseverance means not giving up at the first sign of trouble, but instead we rethink, learn, and keep going. Successful people don't get far just because they're always motivated, but because they take action even when others would have already given up. They know that the power of small, steady steps is huge, and that real breakthroughs often only come to those who can be patient and keep moving forward steadily. Our identity, how we see ourselves, really shapes our motivation. For example, if someone sees themselves as a reader, a problem solver, or a leader, then these labels help shape your actions and build your inner motivation. Successful people work on their identity on purpose, using habits, good thoughts, and learning from feedback. Goals about who you are, like, "I want to be a person who gets better daily," are often a stronger drive than just result goals like, "I want to lose 10 pounds. If you're really serious about succeeding, you don't just let your goals be fuzzy ideas in your head. Real results always come from having super clear, specific goals. It's not enough to just say, "I want to be better." Successful people know exactly what they want to achieve, when they want it, and what steps will get them there. Goals like these don't just show you the way, they also give you that push from inside. Every day they remind you why it's worth getting up and doing something. It's important for goals to be real and something you can measure, but they also need to be a bit of a challenge, because that's what helps us do our best. When you set goals on purpose, you have a much better chance of staying motivated and moving forward. You're not just drifting along, you're moving at your own speed, staying focused and knowing where you're going. In the 21st century, motivation faces new challenges, especially in the age of the attention economy. Social media, constant notifications, and endless things trying to get our attention pull people's focus away, so keeping up long-lasting motivation is harder than ever. Successful people have learned to protect their attention on purpose. They cut down on distractions, work in time blocks, and set up digital boundaries. Focus and deep work, like Cal Newport points out, has become the new productivity superpower. There's this special feeling when you're totally lost in what you're doing. Time seems to disappear, the outside world fades away, and you're just focused on that one task. This is what we call flow, and it's no wonder that people who do great things try to feel it. You get into flow when you have clear goals and get quick feedback on how you're doing, and the challenge is just right, not too easy, but not so hard it makes you quit. That's when your skills and the task are a perfect match. And this state isn't just efficient, it's also super satisfying. Successful people don't just wait for flow to happen by chance. They set up their work, their space, and their daily routines on purpose so they can feel this state more often. Because they know, when we work in flow, we're not just better, we're happier too. Life is full of surprises, things that don't go right, and hard times. The big thing isn't if you have challenges or not, it's how you act when they happen. One of the biggest strengths successful people have inside them is called resilience. That means they can bounce back even when things go wrong, and lots of times they keep going, but even stronger and smarter than before. Being able to bounce back like this isn't something you're just born with. You can learn it. If you think in a good way, you don't pretend the hard stuff isn't there. Instead, you try to find a reason or lesson in it. If you're brave enough to ask for help and take it, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're choosing to build yourself back up. Someone who can bounce back can look at a problem like they're not in it, learn from what happened, and still keep feeling calm and steady inside. This is the kind of strength that doesn't just keep you safe, it also helps you move ahead, especially over a long time. Motivation can go up and down, but habits keep things steady. In his book Atomic Habits, James Clear says that small, regular actions can bring about huge changes in the long run. Successful people don't just rely on feeling excited in the moment. Instead, they create systems and daily routines that keep them moving forward even when they don't feel like it. These tiny habits make sure they keep making progress. Many people think that happiness is the reward for success, but often it's actually the other way around. Feeling good inside builds the foundation for lasting motivation and success. When we feel good about ourselves, when we connect with others, and find meaning in our everyday lives, and we regularly experience positive feelings, then we have much more energy, we're more creative, and we keep going. The main idea of positive psychology is not just to try to fix problems, but also to build on what's already working well inside us. Successful people consciously make sure not to get completely worn out along the way. They make time for sources of joy, their relationships and activities that recharge them. Because they know that motivation isn't like being in a constant fight, it's about inner balance. When we feel good, it's easier to do good things too. One of the biggest things that keeps us going is when we feel that what we're doing is important, not just for us but for other people too. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who created logotherapy, said that what really drives people is looking for meaning in their lives. People who do well in life often don't give up, and it's not because things are easy for them, it's because they really, truly believe that what they're doing matters. The motivation that goes deepest and lasts the longest often comes from your own personal values. Value-based motivation means what you do matches your deep beliefs and how you see the world. This kind of motivation builds up from the inside, and it's tougher against outside pressure and criticism. That's why successful people often think about if their actions match who they are. This helps them feel more whole and happy with their life. For entrepreneurs, it's often not just about the money. It's something much deeper. They want freedom, to be their own boss, and to make a difference in the world. They usually have 3 really strong things driving them from the inside: being flexible, being in charge, and leaving something behind. Being flexible means they get to choose when and how they work. This helps them find a good balance between their job and their personal life. Wanting to be in charge means they like to make their own decisions and take responsibility for them. They don't want to live by rules someone else made and leaving something behind. That's about wanting to create something that lasts, something bigger than just themselves, that touches other people's lives too. These 3 things that push them come from way down deep. So they can keep going for a long, long time, even when things get tricky or you don't know what's next. Motivation isn't just in our minds, it's also a biological thing. How our brain works really affects how much we're willing to do to reach our goals. Dopamine, which people often call the reward chemical, is super important for how we feel our desires, how excited we get about things, and how we keep wanting to do stuff. But dopamine doesn't just turn on when we reach a goal, it also turns on when we're waiting for something exciting or good to happen. That's why it's so important to have goals and smaller steps planned out. Every little step we make gives us another dopamine boost, and that keeps us moving forward. People who do well don't just follow this by accident, they also help it along on purpose. They set up their surroundings and daily habits in a way that makes them feel like they're making progress. This inner chemical stuff is what helps us get past tough spots and brings back our energy again and again. Lots of people think motivation is something that comes from inside you, like it's all personal. But actually, the people we hang out with have a really big effect on it and where we live and work. The people around us, whether we notice it or not, help shape how confident we feel, how we think, and how we feel about our goals. If you're around people who support you, who inspire you, and believe in you, that kind of secretly makes you feel more driven inside. But if you're always around negative people, people who bring you down or doubt you, that can make you unsure. Over time, it can even make you lose your excitement. People who do well don't just work on themselves, they also choose who they spend time with. They build friendships and connections with people who share their good ideas, goals, and energy. Because motivation isn't just like a fire inside you, it's something that good friends can help keep burning bright. It's important to understand that motivation isn't something that's always perfectly steady, but it's more like a living thing that changes. Some days we feel like we're flying high, and then there are times when everything feels tougher. That's completely okay. The big difference is whether we have the right tools, ways of thinking, and habits to help us find our inner strength again and again. Successful people aren't special because they're always motivated, but because they know how to relight that fire when it starts to die down. Motivation is kind of like an inner muscle. If we pay attention to it, if we exercise it and take care of it, then we can reach a point where not only our goals, but we ourselves also reach a new level. And there's something else they don't often tell us, that not every day will be perfect. There will be mornings when you can hardly get out of bed, when nothing seems to work the way you want it to, and when your energy is just a faint memory of yesterday. But even then, you have a choice. Do what you can with what you have. If that day you only feel a little bit of the energy you're used to, but you give that little bit your honest effort, then that day wasn't wasted. Real growth doesn't come from perfect days, but from those days when you take a step forward, even when it's hard. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing up. Because whoever keeps going when they don't want to, when they're tired, when they feel weak, that's who is really building their life. Lasting success comes from these small but steady steps. Motivation isn't some magic gift that only a few lucky people get. It's something you build, little by little, with new habits, new thoughts, and new ways of seeing things. And remember, you don't have to be perfect every day. It's enough to just show up. It's enough to keep moving forward, because that's what really matters. If this video helped you feel inspired, subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell button too, so you don't miss out on new videos. And tell me in the comments, what keeps you motivated, even when things are tough? Let's start a conversation that can help other people start their journey too. Thanks for joining me today on this journey. Take care of your inner strength, feed your motivation, and don't forget, you're already building your life just by taking time for yourself today. See you in the next video. Until then, stay curious, stay aware, and be brave on your path.